scheduled council meeting of Wednesday, December 18th. Let the record show that all councilors are present, exception of Councilor Whitney. At this time, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, Andy, we go to closed session, correct?
Mayor, members of the council, I believe there's a closed session here for the purposes of potentially purchasing real property and determining a price that is pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D.05 Subdivision 3, Sub 3, Parents 3.
Okay,
We need a motion, a second to go into closed session.
okay. Is there a motion and a second?
Motion to go to closed session.
Motion to go to closed session by Councilor Bayless. Support?
Support.
Support by Councilor Fossil. At that time, we'll go to closed session. Be in about.
Be nice as half of those were offensive.
Okay, coming out of closed session, at this time, we have referred this property situation to our city staff to research and to come move forward. So we will not be making any decision tonight. We'll move on to deletes and adds. Consent agenda number 12. Delete. Approve of minutes. Approval of the agenda. Wishes of the council.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Councilor Fossil.
Support.
Support by Councilor Bayless. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Approval of the minutes. Approve the minutes of Hibbing City Council meeting and Truth and Taxation of December 4th, 2024. Wishes of the council.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Councilor Schweberger.
Support.
Support by Councilor Fossil. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. 2, approve the minutes of the Hibbing City Council workshop of December 4th, 2024. Wishes of the council.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Councilor Bayless.
Support.
Support by Councilor Hildebrand. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We'll move on to consent agenda. Approve the accounts payable checks number 178900 through 179008 dated December 12th, 2024 in the amount of $1,757,991.35. 2, approve the city payroll ending November 29, 2024 in the amount of $594,224.49. 3, approve the city comp buyout and police school pay for 11/18/23 through 11/15/24 in the amount of $116,923.97. 4, authorize to hire Richard Rogan for the full-time wastewater treatment plant operator pending pre-employment contingencies. 5, approve the assignment of Adam Holm to narcotics officer effective January 1st, 2025. 6, approve the out-of-state travel request for city service director to attend the SME annual conference in Denver, Colorado to accept the partnership appreciation award on behalf of the city for the Hull Rust Mineview project. 7, approve the updated sick leave policy effective January 1st, 2025. 8, approve the raffle permit application request of the Hibbing JO Volleyball to hold the raffle on Sunday, February 16th, 2025. 9, approve the raffle permit application request of the Hibbing Elks Lodge number 1022 to hold their raffle on Saturday, April 26, 2025 at the Hibbing Curling Club, 400 East 23rd Street. 10, approve the 2024 massage therapy license of Pamela Anjan Massage. 11, approve the raffle print application request of the Minnesota Forest Zone Trappers Association to hold a raffle on Tuesday, October 15th, 2025 at the Hibbing Memorial Arena. 12 was scratched. 13, set the next reorganization and regular Hibbing City Council meeting for Wednesday, January 8th, 2024 at 5 p.m. And 14, set the next city council meeting or Hibbing workshop meeting for Wednesday, January 8th, 2024, following the reorganization and the regular meeting at 5 p.m. Wishes of the council.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read and published. However, on number 13 and 14, it should be January 8th, 2025. on
Yes,
both,
it
and
should be.
number
Thank you.
14
So we'll make that correction to 2025.
For both 13 and 14.
Yep. Noted. We have a motion. Do we have a second by Counselor Hoffman-Sockman?
Support.
Support by Counselor Hildebrand. Any discussion? I appreciate that correction, Ms. Stockman. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. At this time, we go to public forum. And Mr. Anthony Blair, you have the floor. And as before, please state your name and address and 5 minutes to state what you want to put before the council.
Anthony Polari, 2519 6th Avenue East, Hibbing, Minnesota.
Thank you.
Good evening, City Council and residents at home watching. Last City Council meeting, I challenged all the members to visit the animal shelter. And then I emailed each member to open up communication line between us. Of the 13 emails I sent out, 4 responded. That's 30%. It's less than 1 out of 3 city council members that responded to me. But since then, the state of Minnesota has visited the shelter and has taken the license of the animal shelter, effective immediately, I believe. This is in the front page of our local newspaper yesterday. So now I'm just here to ask what the city council has planned for the future. What direction are we going into? Are we just gonna resubmit for our license come February 1st, which was kind of reported in the newspaper? This is my dog, Nelson. He was the first dog I got from the shelter. He was the best dog in the world. I have another picture of my other dog that I have now. He's not so good, but we're getting there. So I just wanted to maintain this communication line that I have with you all and just ask what we have going forward. I'd hate to lose the shelter, I guess, but I haven't heard any responses in reading the article in the paper, so I guess I just wanted to ask you what we plan on going forward. And obviously my volunteering and my time is available. It's been available since March 5th, the restructuring and the downfall of our animal shelter, I believe. So I don't know, Mayor, I'd just like to leave it at that. Do we have plans going forward?
The only thing I can comment on that is they're a separate 501c3. It isn't the city's plan moving forward, it's the 501c3. The city, as you know, Anthony, we don't run the shelter, we own the building. It is the 501c3, which is the RAR, that actually runs the shelter. So this is a restructure or their 501c3 group that's gonna have to deal with this, not the city. We own the building, and we release the land. They are an independent organization recognized by the state of Minnesota. And they are the ones who will have to deal with the issues that they have to deal with the state.
Well, it's a little bit more than just we own the building. We have a annual budget of $103,000 every year that goes to the shelter, $4,000 for repair and maintenance supplies, $5,000 for professional services like veterinarian, $3,200 in communications, $5,000 insurance, $12,000 in utilities, $12,300 in repair and maintenance labor, $4,800 in rent. And the last one, $57,000 is budgeted to give to the board of directors for professional services. So it's a little bit more than just we own the building. It's $103,000 plus we own the building. Also, do we have a contract with the regional animal? And is that how the city does business? I'm not quite familiar with how the city does business, but do we just let somebody use our our building and then hand over essentially $103,000 worth of taxpayers' money just to, hey, that's it? I mean, that seems, that doesn't seem right to me, that we support them that much. This is taxpayers' money, and yet, oh, we don't run anything. Well, that doesn't seem right to me. That's not clicking, and I keep hearing that. For the last 9 months, that's all I've heard is how we just own the building. Well, that's not true.
Anthony, we pay for the services that they provide.
And then if they do whatever
yes,
they
we
do,
a lot of
that's
things.
it.
A lot of the issues and a lot of the things that you mentioned were related to the building, the insurances and different things, the leases, but we also pay for their services within that for the city of Hibbing. It is an independent group. We do work with them, and they also raise a lot of their own funds through fundraising, well beyond what we give them. But we do work with them on their services, and that is where some of that funding goes. And that's one of the reasons we're in the situation we're in right now.
Okay.
Because accountability and the funding that we give them is very important in the structure of the city. So I
That's
hope that
exactly-
answered your question.
That's exactly what I was looking for, exactly. A little accountability so if we do move forward, we don't go down the wrong path again. That's all. I don't want to play the blame game, nothing like that. at all.
Anthony, we are past 5 minutes.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, at this time, we will move on to department and committee reports. Number 1, Community Economic Developer, Ms. Olivanti.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Tonight, I have in front of you, my first item is a request to approve Resolution 24-12-09 to appoint the building official and the community development director to the Airport Zoning Revision Committee. This is part of the 2023 Strategic Plan, High Priority Goal Number 6, to clean up ordinances leading to greater enforceability. The City of Hibbing received a letter from the Chisholm-Hibbing Airport Authority dated June 17th, 2024, with a request to pass a resolution to appoint 2 members to a joint airport zoning board. The city attorney responded with a letter on August 16th, 2024, that the Airport Authority does not have the power to create a zoning board, and further, the City of Hibbing has a Planning and Zoning Commission that oversees Chapter 11, Section 11.39, Hibbing Chisholm Airport Zoning Authority Ordinance. To ensure that the Chisholm-Hibbing Airport Authority is able to continue receiving state funding, which is contingent upon an airport zoning ordinance that meets the standards prescribed by the Commissioner of Transportation and receives the order of approval, city staff recommends the following: that a committee be formed to review and revise the zoning ordinance to obtain the Commissioner's order of approval, that the building official and community development director be appointed to this committee, and that the committee serve until the Commissioners of Transportation order of approval is obtained, or June of 2026, whichever is shorter. Tonight, I stand for questions.
Councilors, any questions for Ms. Olivanti? What is the time frame, Ms. Olivanti, on putting this together?
The airport consultant has reported that it should be completed by the June of 2026, which is why that's the date in the
About a year and a half.
resolution. Yep.
Any other questions? So we're looking for approval of a resolution. Councilors, wishes of yours.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion approved by Councilor Bayless,
Support.
support by Councilor Hoffman-Sockman. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We move on to B.
Item B is a request to approve the surplus land sale policy as presented. This went through workshop back in November, and it applies to the disposition of all City of Hibbing real estate determined to no longer be necessary for city operations or use, to have a standard process in place for city-owned land deemed to be surplus. The policy was in your packet as presented and has been workshopped in November.
So what Ms. Olivanti is looking for, councilors, is support of surplus land policy. Wishes of the council.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Councilor Faso. Support.
I'll support.
support by Counselor Bayless. Any discussion? At what point do you feel, I do have one question, at what point do you feel any surplus property, as you review the city, or acreage, will there be a final list of what is available?
It depends on what regularity you'd like to see that. Would you like to see it quarterly, annually, those sorts of things? I think we will develop that over time. But right now, we do have a couple of parcels that have come to the attention based on queries from folks in the community. So I think those two parcels would be brought to you in January 8th with a process following this policy to be up for sale and then disposed of.
So what you'll be working on between now and January 8th is your land purchase policy.
Well, the
You're
policy.
looking for the approval to move forward. The
policy-
process of selling that property is what you will be working on.
Yeah, sorry, Mayor. The policy is in front of you tonight for approval. What we will
Okay,
bring to you on
correct.
January 8th would be a list of properties that
All
we're
right.
looking to sell via that process.
Very good. Any other questions? We have first and a second. All in favor, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. And C,
Yep, my final item tonight is to request approval of the parking and traffic study RFP. This was worked on by our city engineer and myself, and staff here at the city. It was brought forward to the city council after having been approved at the EDA board on Monday night. This was a follow-on to the parking study that we did in the downtown back in 2023. This will expand to not just parking, but also traffic flow in the study area, which is First Avenue and Howard. Jesse, where does it start and end, please?
First Avenue, it starts at 31st Street to Howard, and then Howard goes from First Avenue to 12th Avenue East.
okay,
And at this point, we'd request approval of the RFP that was in your packet tonight.
very good. Hearing what Ms. Olvanti had to say regarding the traffic study RFP, wishes of the council.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion approved by Counselor Hoffman Sockman.
Support.
Support by Counselor Schweberger. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Yes.
One item is that it will be funded by the EDA from the 255-46-6500-300.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Olvanti.
Thank you.
We move on to Finance Director, Treasurer, Ms. Mulder.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. For item A, I'm offering resolution number 24-12-10, making declaration of the official intent to reimburse expenditures from an issue of tax-exempt bonds. For our public safety building project, we are still working through the requirement for the state bonding grant agreement, and our first local sales tax payment won't be received until approximately the end of June, early July of 2025. As we start to incur costs for architectural, engineering, and other professional services, this would be a funding option that we would have to front the upfront costs until the other financing sources come through. The IRS requires this reimbursement resolution within 60 days of the occurrence of any project expenditures if the city wishes to use any tax-exempt debt as a financing source to reimburse ourselves. I'm asking council to approve this resolution so we have the option to reimburse ourselves with tax-exempt debt.
Very good. Hearing what Ms. Mulner had to say regarding tax reimbursement. Wish of the council.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Counselor Schweberger,
Support.
support by Counselor Fossil. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. B, Ms. Mulner.
Item B, I'm asking for approval of the revised amended facility lease agreement and compliance checklist between the City of Hibbing and Arrowhead Transit. Earlier this year, the City Council approved a lease agreement for Arrowhead Transit to occupy our facility. Since then, MnDOT has come back and said that a portion of the facility was funded with state bonds, so therefore it would have to be in compliance with MMB's use agreement checklist. So Andy has worked on drafting the new agreement according to the MMB's use agreement checklist. So this would be the updated agreement. So I'm asking council to approve that agreement and checklist.
Very good. So this is where they'll be using our new bus garage where we had our buses.
Right, yep, so
Except
they're
with
still in
MnDOT.
there and they need a little bit longer in there until they get their new facility up for
So an
lease.
updated lease with MnDOT's inserts.
Right.
All right, hearing what Ms. Mulner had to say, wish of the council.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Counselor Hoffman Sockman,
Support.
support by Counselor Hildebrand. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Mulner. We move on to City Attorney, Mr. Borland.
Mayor, members of the council, within your packet is a proposed ordinance with regard to cannabis use. This was taken from St. Louis County's ordinance. It mirrors their ordinance with respect to how cannabis would be addressed with the potential starting time in early 2025. So that's why it was prepared. We did workshop this, had it for your review a few weeks back. So it's here and it's been posted, so it's here for your consideration this evening. I did talk to the county attorney. There was a question that came up, I think, in one of our meetings with the city administrator, but the question was, well, how would you treat sidewalks, people using cannabis on the sidewalk itself, a public sidewalk? The county attorney's opinion is that it would cover sidewalks, public sidewalks, so the use of public cannabis on a public sidewalk would be prohibited. She recognized that there are a lot more sidewalks in cities than there are necessarily in the county that she's managing. But that was her opinion, that the way the county worded the ordinance, the way I've taken it from it, it would address that area as well. So that's here for your consideration this evening.
All right. Hearing what Mr. Borland had to say regarding the ordinance on cannabis, wishes of the council.
Motion to approve?
Motion approved by Counselor Fossil. Support?
Support.
Support by Counselor Whitney. Any discussion? Additional questions for Mr. Borland?
Mayor?
Yes.
I definitely like the part about the use in public. I just had a little bit of questions around the section that limits the number of retail locations that can be within our city. So the verbiage we have looks like it's going to limit it to just one. Is that correct?
That's probably true based on our population, right?
So when I look at what the state says, it says we at least have a minimum for the 12,500, but we can have above and beyond that number. Is that correct?
That's my understanding, so you could have above and beyond. You're limited to having, you have to have at least one. The caveat to that is that if there were enough other ones granted by the county within our county that covered more than enough, there may not be any in Hibbing. Because I think the county legislates their particular jurisdiction and the cities are smaller, so there could be, say, smaller communities that may not have any. Because of our population, we'd probably have at least one.
My concern over that would be if we wanted two, or two people wanted to do the same thing within our city, we're kind of limiting ourselves right off the bat. So I kind of think to be fair and have availability, there should be at least more than one. That's my thought.
Good discussion. Any other comments, councilors?
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt, Councilor Weber. The caveat outside of this is if the city wanted to get into the business of running their own retail, you're unlimited. The city could run as many shops as they wanted. That's the way the statute is written.
So this one here that we're voting on, this is where it's limited to one in our city no matter what, correct?
Right, because of the 12,500 number per the state statute.
Yeah, so I guess my question is why are we gonna cap it off ahead of time? I mean, competition's always a good thing no matter what it is, because when you look at liquor stores, I mean, we have several liquor stores around, and realistically, this isn't a whole lot different. I mean, the competition, the strong survive, and so I would like to see us have, not limit to just one.
And if the council wants to change, that's fine. Just give me direction. We just repost it and then approve it at a subsequent meeting as to how many you actually want the opportunity for.
So at this time, am I hearing, we have a motion, we have a second. We probably should take a vote, and if it doesn't pass, then it could be reconsidered.
Reconsidered at a different time.
What's that?
Reconsidered at a different time.
Yeah,
With
we
a
could
different number.
reconsider at a different time.
Or could it be tabled at this point or not?
So you have a motion and a second pending, unless you want to withdraw your motion. You already have a motion and a second to
Yep.
approve.
So given that we have a motion and a second, could, an amendment to that motion could be entertained?
It could be, except you have to still post the ordinance again
he
and
didn't
its
make
final version.
Correct. Yeah.
He could withdraw, correct?
Yep.
You could withdraw your motion.
Okay. I would withdraw my motion.
Okay, we do have withdraw the motion. Do we need to withdraw the second, or no?
I think if you withdraw the initial motion,
All right.
it's gone.
Now we can move on to tabling this if we wanted to?
So if you table the motion, then you are having to bring it back at your next meeting, as
Okay.
compared to if you want to just leave it with no action, you don't necessarily have to bring it back on the 8th. You could bring it back at a subsequent meeting. If I have it ready for the 8th, or if we have workshop or get more feedback,
Right.
I could certainly have it posted again, ready for your consideration.
I personally think there should probably be a little bit more discussion
Okay,
around this.
So we do want to table. So I need a motion to table.
Motion.
So if you don't, if you table, you are going to bring
Just-
it, take it up on the 8th.
Very
Just leave
good.
it alone.
So we will table this.
No,
No, you won't.
No,
You just won't take any action at all.
we won't take any action. Very good.
Thank you.
See, if we have to vote it down, we can.
Or if
Very
we,
good.
or if we tabled and you just put no cap to the amount of them, then we could just be done with it, right? And we could come back
I
on
want to
the 8th.
research that question to make sure I'm giving you the straight
Okay.
answer on that.
All right,
Make
sounds
sure I'm
good.
comfortable with that.
So leave no motion. All right, we move on to B, Mr. Borland.
Mayor, members of the council, the local voters voted for a local sales and use tax, so there needed to be an ordinance in place. That's for your consideration this evening, is a proposed ordinance for the local sales and use tax, because it needs to be approved to go into effect as written as of January 1st of 2025. So it's here for your consideration this evening.
Okay, hearing what Mr. Borland had to say, wishes of the council.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Motion by Councilor Bayless,
Support.
support by Councilor Schweberger. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. C, Mr. Borland.
Mayor, members of the council, also in your packet is a resolution with respect to the special legislation as to the sales and use tax. In order for that to go into effect, because it's a special law unique to Hibbing, you need to pass a resolution before the end of this year, and also file a certificate with the Secretary of State's office reflecting that you've accepted the special legislation. That needs to be done now, so that it can be submitted by the end of the year.
Very good. Hearing what Mr. Borland had to say regarding the resolution for the city of Hibbing accepting the special legislation, wishes of the council.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Councilor Hoffman Sockman,
Support.
support by Councilor Hildebrand. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Mayor.
At this time, we move on to City Administrator, Mr. Krasinski.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, thank you. So this is potentially the last meeting of the year, so our time-honored tradition is to deliver to the City Council and the residents of Hibbing our annual report. And I give to you our annual report. It is posted on our website. I think it's on our social media platforms as well. So our residents, if they want to follow along, they certainly may. Otherwise, we will be scrolling through here on the laptop, and they'll be able to see some of the items that are included in the annual report. We will not be going through it verbatim. I'm going to just touch on a few of the high points for the year. Unfortunately, we can't include everything that we did in 2024. I mean, it would be, a ream of paper. But the point is, reporting to our city council and our residents, very important to us. So I'm going to have the city council go ahead, turn to page 4. Mr. Borland just kind of went over some of the local sales tax technicalities, but this is a real brief summary of the local sales tax. It's 0.5% to fund a public safety building. So I wanted to make sure that we recognize that, thank our citizens for their support, and that project will be on the way here in the near future. Page 5, overview of our finance department. Again, a lot of information in here. I just want to touch on a couple of things. Return on investments for 2024, about 1.8 million. And then I also want to point to our AA bond rating. That is very good for a small community. Next page goes over finances. The format is a little bit different than maybe what you're used to. So what we're trying to do is account for all the monies that come in from outside sources during the year, but also account for the money from outside sources that will be in the future. So the money from outside sources during 2024, about 2.5 million, and then secured for the future about 3.96 million. So substantial outside resources coming into the city's coffers. Moving on to page 7, I'll just point to a couple of large-scale projects. The Hall Rust Mine View construction will be wrapping up. There's another phase coming up soon. City Hall restoration project continues to ramp up. And then I'll just point to our local golf course, about 9,000 rounds of golf played on the local municipal course. Turning to page 8, another project completed, our pickleball courts, something a little bit larger scale, our park and trail master plan, continued implementation. So a couple of items there to just point out to our residents. Turning to page 9, I would just point to the center of the page. Number of building permits issued, 333, with about a $27 million valuation impact, substantial for this community, so I wanted to point that out. Moving on to page 10, again, center of the page, number of residential structures demolished during the 2024 construction season, 8. And I'm just going to say one thing about those residential structures being demolished. Seems counterproductive sometimes when you kind of think about it. Housing shortage, we're demolishing buildings, homes. Some of that stock, some of that housing stock is old enough where it's just timed out, so it's time to demolish those, take care of the blight, move on to a new building on those lots. So moving on to page 11, overview of our library, top of the page, about 40,000 circulation total through the end of October. And then there's one other thing toward the bottom of the page I want to point out, something I thought was pretty neat, our back to school bash, where we gave away 225 bags filled with school supplies, of course getting ready for our students to go back to school. I thought that was a pretty neat project for our library to do for our local students. So moving on to the next page, our Hibbing Police Department. I'd just point to the number of calls for service during the year, 19,744, almost 20,000 calls for service. I think that's substantial. Moving down to the text, the first sentence, our Range Police Youth Academy, highly successful. I think this is the second or the third year. I think that's a pretty neat program. And then the next paragraph talks about the Iron Range Polar Plunge at Carey Lake, bringing in $30,000 to the Special Olympics. I think that's a pretty neat thing for our local community, hosted by our local police department, so I wanted to point that out. Fire and EMS. Top of the page, 2,715 total EMS calls. Kind of lays out the rest of the calls that we've responded to. Bottom of the page, the outdoor warning siren system, that system is complete. Remember, we worked on that substantially. It's a low-cost project, high impact for our residents. Remember, that works along with some of the other technology warning systems that we have in place, but I want to point those two items out. So the next few pages, I'll just kind of skim through these. Street paving, rehab of about 6 miles of city streets. Sanitary sewer, rehab of about 4,600 feet of sanitary sewer. Next page, residential, I'm gonna combine all of these. I think we've got tons of trash and recyclables all lumped together for sanitation. 11,624 tons of recyclables and trash hauled. Treated about 755 million gallons of wastewater, which, remember, mandated by the state of Minnesota, very important for us to be able to treat that wastewater and return it back into the environment. Fleet management, something that's relatively new to the city of Hibbing, being more proactive when it comes to owning, operating, maintaining our equipment. I know we've got a new asset management software system in place, which will help us do that. And then I would like to also point to the very top, the new rigs starts, we welcome Truck Norris and Forest Dump. That was our communications department. Kelly, I think, was kind of leading that with our fleet management folks. Naming some of our new equipment, I thought that was a pretty neat project. I did see recently Minnesota Department of Transportation, they've ripped off our idea. They're also naming their snowplows, so I thought that was a pretty cool thing. Moving on to our HR department, I would point to a couple of things. First thing, employee turnover rate of under 8, 7.69 to be exact. I'd like to point to the middle of the page, strengthening the organizational culture, something that is a top priority for the city council and myself. I think that is well underway. And then moving down a little bit, the workplace safety, a focus on workplace safety for our employees, very important for us. And then the next section is some of our community partners, including the public utilities. So the thing I would point out to here is toward the bottom of the page. They've secured over $5.5 million in external funding for upgrading the systems that they own and operate. I thought that was a substantial number that our residents would like to see. Moving on to the Range Regional Airport. Enplanements, that's always a key factor for our airport. Once again, we have surpassed the 10,000 mark when it comes to enplanements, which, remember, key because there's some outside funding that comes from FAA that keeps that airport running day to day. Another one of our key community partners is our local HRA. I just point to a couple of things toward the top of the page. The Move to Work program, I know Jackie has been here, she's talked about that previously. That's a substantial number, increasing from 65 participants to 144. I thought that was something worthy of pointing out. And then toward the bottom of the page, improved inventory. And I'll let you kind of review that on your own, but I thought those are two key metrics that we should point out to our city council. Moving on to the next page, 21. Another key partner, Hibbing Historical Society and Museum. The impact that they have, I know there's something in there about their classroom outreach program impacting about 265 students. I thought that was pretty neat. And then just an overview of the number of people that go through our museum. About 1,000 people go through that museum. Remember, that's at the Memorial Building, so we're driving trips to the Memorial Building, but also to that museum and Historical Society. And then the last thing that I would bring to the City Council's attention is the Hibbing Chamber of Commerce. They were selected as one of 30 communities nationwide to participate in the Main Street America's Equitable Entrepreneurial Ecosystem Program. Difficult to say, but I think that's a key thing for our community. Just another example of kind of what's going on in the community. I want to make sure that our city council and our residents get a chance to take a look at this. Again, it's posted on our website. There's way more than what I just kind of pointed out, but I delivered this to the city council this evening. So any questions or comments, I would stand for those.
Ms. Krasinski, I appreciate the report tonight. It's put together very, very nicely, easy to follow. Nice, good, great factual information. I thank you for that.
And I would say this, Mr. Mayor and City Council, even though I happen to be the spokesperson for this particular project, I had very little to do with much of it. It's you all, certainly up on the dais, but our staff, which many of them are here. Remember, we've got about 140-something employees. Every single one of those people had a hand in making this come to life. So again, way more than we can capture in one report, but these are the highlights, so thank you.
Yes.
Greg, I'm assuming that it's already up and on our website and Facebook. And if anyone wanted a hard copy, are they at the library, or where can somebody get that?
I think probably the best place to get a copy is here at City Hall,
Okay.
City Clerk's office. Yes, it's already posted on our website, probably on our social media, which is linked. We would be more than happy to provide hard copies to anybody that's interested.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay. B, Ms. Krasinski, construction manager at risk.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, City Council, one item from my office this evening. I present to you a consideration and action for construction manager at risk services for Adelson and Peterson. Remember, we engaged with them to represent us when it comes to the construction of the public safety building. Some of that work has already been done, but this kind of memorializes the agreement that we have with that group. I did provide the entire agreement for the city council, but I also cut out probably the thing that people are the most interested in, and that's what we're gonna pay that company to represent us during construction. And the bottom line is 2% of the overall cost of the construction of the project. So, and then we have two other items. These are both lump sum items. They helped us with a feasibility study. And then the other thing that they helped us with was the pre-construction services, and that's actually ongoing, so.
Okay. So that was just an update you gave us, or are you looking?
I am looking for city council action on the agreement.
Okay. Hearing what Mr. Krasinski had to say regarding construction manager at risk, wishes of council.
I'll make the motion to go ahead with the agreement.
Motion by Councilor Bayless. Support?
Support.
Support by Councilor Fossil. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Brzezinski. Move on to bids and quotes. Community Development Director, Ms. Olivante.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. In front of you tonight, I have the request to approve the proposal for a comprehensive plan land use chapter update in the amount not to exceed $30,000 from HKGI. This strategic initiative for this particular request tonight is the 2023 strategic plan opportunity goal number 8 to update the comprehensive plan. I have worked on this with Mr. Pat Green, who is the planning and zoning administrator and building official, and our city administrator, Mr. Brzezinski. Since the strategic plan in April of 2023 identified that an update to the 2018 comp plan was a priority for the council, city staff has undertaken several revisions to several components of the plan. The land use chapter is next on the list. Thus, community development staff requested proposals from 3 firms, Streeter Consulting, HKGI, and Bolton & Mink. to replace the current natural environment chapter with an updated land use plan in the 2018 comp plan, and a request to deliver the end product in both a PDF and a Word document. Streeter Consulting declined to propose, and the two other proposals are in your agenda packet tonight. And at this time, staff is recommending that the council approve the proposal from HKGI in the amount not to exceed $30,000. This work will be funded by the HEDA levy per the 2025 budget approved by council at a prior meeting. Planning and Zoning Commission will also be involved in this project, and it will result in an update to the 2018 comp plan and will revise the land use chapter.
Very good. Hearing what Ms. Olavanti had to say, wishes of the council.
Motion. Go ahead.
Motion
Mr. Mayor,
approved by
motion to
Councilor Hoffman Sockman, second.
Support.
Councilor Schweberger, support. Betsy, at what time would this information roll into our comp plan?
The intention is to start Mr. Mayor, the intention is to start this work in early 2025, and it should be completed within the first 6 months. So probably in that third quarter, it would be folded in and presented back to the city council at the beginning of that third quarter.
All right. Any other questions, councilors? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Betsy. Move on to city engineer, Mr. Story.
Mayor, council, we had to repair or rebuild one of our 30 horsepower pumps in the Latonia lift station. So I'm asking council to approve the invoice from Electric Pump in the amount of $14,579.58. For this lift station, there's 2 pumps. We have 1 spare pump, so this pump did go down. We put the spare we had in there, rebuilt this one, so we can have it on the shelf in case something happens to the other 2. A new pump for this lift station is a little over $42,000, so we are having a savings here. The warranty from a new pump to the rebuild pump is the same warranty, so I'm asking for council approval.
Hearing what Mr. Story had to say regarding new lift pump from Electric Pump or Latonia Lift Station. Wishes of council.
Motion to approve?
Motion approved by Councilor Fossil.
Support.
Support by Councilor Schweberger. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. B, Jesse.
Mayor, council, looking at the amount of traffic and the amount of students that cross 21st Street by the Washington on 12th, and then 23rd Street at 11th by the Lincoln. We're talking with the police chief. We'd like to install the stop signs with LEDs on them. They're solar powered. So I got a quote from Erliff Anderson for 6 signs for $11,100. We would do the install with our Public Works Department, and we can use funds out of our operating budget to purchase these. So we'd like to move forward with this purchase, just to try to make that as safe of an area as we can for the students.
Very good, and they are noticeable, no doubt about it. Wishes of the council regarding LED flashing stop signs.
Motion to approve?
Motion approved by Councilor Fossil.
Support.
Support by Councilor Hildebrand.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Jesse, so I see that it is going to come out of the Public Works operating budget, as you had stated. Could this qualify for the Safe Walks to School grant funds?
Mayor, council, this could qualify, but it's a grant process, and we'd have to wait till next year to apply for the grant for these funds.
Okay, very good.
So
Thank you.
depending on what council wants to do, I mean, we can.
No, I was just wondering, so, thank you.
Okay, any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. C, Jesse.
Mayor, council, one of the next steps for the public safety building for the existing facility is an asbestos inspection and hazardous material survey. We received 2 quotes, one from NTS, one from IEA. IEA had the low quote for $5,282. We did have our architect, Brunton, and our engineers and our construction manager review these proposals. And we're asking to approve the contract with IEA in the amount of $5,282.
Okay, hearing what Mr. Story had to say regarding hazardous materials survey. Wish of the council.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion approved by Councilor Hoffman Sockman.
Support.
Support by Councilor Whitney. Jesse, question, where is this?
This is at the existing county public works facility.
Okay, tying into what we're trying to do.
Yeah, so what they'll do is they'll go through, they'll survey everything, come up with a list
All
what
right.
needs to be removed, and then we'll get another price or proposal
For removal.
for the removal.
Very good. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you.
Move on to Fire Chief, Mr. Jankla.
Evening, Mayor and Council. The first item before you is the purchase of a 2025 Chevy Equinox from North Country on the state bid for our code enforcement person. She also handles the blight. I do believe that Mr. Przynski's been sending out information. Alyssa's hit the ground running. She's doing a great job, but currently she's sharing a vehicle with the CSO. Office of Chief SD, and so we're looking to purchase her this vehicle, and the funds are coming from budget savings in the current code enforcement budget and some fire department budget, in the amount of $32,500, and again, state bid.
Very good. Wish of the council. Motion approved. Motion approved by Councilor Bayless.
Support.
Support by Councilor Fossil. Did you say these are coming out of 24 funds?
Correct.
Okay, very good. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is the big one from the workshop meeting last week. We're looking for approval to place the order for a 100-foot tower ladder from General Safety Apparatus / Rosenbauer, Minnesota, LLC, for the amount of $1,983,842. This is going to replace a truck that will be pushing 35 years old at the time of the delivery. It is scheduled to be about a 28-month delivery, which is significantly less than some of the other vendors. This is a Sourcewell bid. We did work with several other vendors, and they were the closest vendor was $300,000 more. And we're looking to have you authorize this purchase.
Hear what Chief Jankla had to say? Wishes of the council.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Councilor Schweberger.
Second it.
Second by Councilor Bayless. Chief, when you say a ladder truck, you're not talking a bucket truck. You're tracking an actual ladder truck again.
This is an actual tower ladder, which is a bucket with a ladder.
Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted to clarify.
Correct.
Is this does have a bucket also, so it has a combination really.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, one more thing, Chief.
Yes.
Just so the public's aware, we've been talking about this for a while. What was the quote, like what was the difference in the price that we looked at from?
So we've been working on this for well over 5 years, and when I first brought this to a workshop at a different time frame, we've almost doubled the price in the last 8 years. So it was about $1.3 million, and now we're looking at $1.99 million for this project, and we literally have gone through this thing with tooth and nails for the public. I'm telling you, there's no bells and whistles on this truck. This is just what it costs. There's no frivolous purchases or anything of the sort. But yeah, it's gone up tremendously in the last a few years. And then just alone, if we wait until after the first of the year, we're looking at another $120,000, $125,000 increase at January 1st.
Thank you.
The old truck, because we're looking at about a little over 2 year out before this truck will be delivered.
Correct.
Is there any value in the old truck?
We're hoping to find some value. None of the vendors wanted in on a trade. The way that fire trucks are sold is that it's basically a kind of a brokerage type deal. You'll send it out there. What we're really hoping is that you're going to find a small town community, that's going to be looking for an inexpensive truck for the 30 calls a year that they may get. But in terms of value, I would hope that we can get 30, 40,000 for it on some kind of a market afterwards, but it kind of depends on, we have a repair being scheduled for the current one. The parts are being made because they don't make the parts anymore. So when that's done, the truck will be down for a few weeks as we have to bring it down to the cities to get it fixed. So barring that there's no catastrophic failures between now and then, we are hoping to get something for it when the new one's delivered.
All right, I appreciate that information. Well, we have a first and a second. Any other discussion?
Mayor, I just have,
Yes.
Chief, could you just very briefly let the citizens know how we budgeted and will pay for this truck?
I am going to defer that to Ms. Molnar for the process. As it was discussed at the workshop, just in a synopsis from my point of view, it'll be paid for in 3 different processes. The first payment isn't even due until 2026 budget year, but as far as how the city is going to do the internal, I would defer that to Ms. Molnar.
Counselor Whitney, I've been working with our municipal advisor from Ellers on getting some bonding scenarios to issue equipment certificates. We're trying to work on the timing of that because of that first payment coming in March of 2026. You don't want to issue the certificates until you're going to start making the first payment because there's timing on when you get the funds and when you have to actually pay for the item back. But we're starting to run bonding scenarios of what that'll look like for our debt service levy overall. It's looking like it'll be approximately, depending on if we run it over 10 years or 20 years, it'll be an annual payback of about somewhere between $160,000 and $260,000 a year.
So everybody knows we're not writing a $2 million check tomorrow.
Right.
Thank you.
One other question. Your previous truck or existing truck, you said it has a 35-year life. What do you project on the new truck?
When we purchase this vehicle and we purchase the last two engines that you guys have allowed us to purchase, in the capital replacement plan, we would start going forward at about 25 years with this truck and do a 3 to 5 year projected, very much like we're doing now. So if this vehicle is purchased now, we would remove it from service, ideally at 30 years.
Okay. Any other questions for the chief? Well, we have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Ladder truck coming.
Our members will be very excited. Thank you.
And it will fit in our new building?
That is correct, sir.
Only the new one. At this time, Jesse, you had Mr. McKinney here today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mayor, I'll cover that.
Okay, very good. So we'll move on to Fleet Manager Joe McKinney, and Mr. Story, you'll handle this.
Mayor Council attaches a lease agreement from McQueen Equipment for the lease of a new street sweeper for $14,500 per month. We talked about this during our budget working sessions. Currently, we own 2 sweepers. We don't want to own a third sweeper. They're very expensive to maintain and very expensive to purchase. So we looked at leasing a sweeper from April 15th to May 15th, and then October 1st and November 1st. Those are our heaviest months for sweeping. So we like to move forward. This is a budgeted item in our rental budget for 2025. So we'd like to move forward with this lease agreement so we can get that on the books so we make sure it's here when we need it.
All right, hearing what Mr. Story had to say regarding lease agreement for a street sweeper. Wish of the council.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Councilor Hoffman Sockman.
Support.
Support by Councilor Whitney. Jesse, these will have a top dump so we can use our trucks with them too?
Correct. Yep, these will dump into one of our dump trucks.
All right, and just so people know, what is a new street sweeper?
A little over $300,000.
Right, so this is a pretty good deal for
Correct.
when we need it. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Story.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll look for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
So moved by Counselor Bayless. Support. Support by Counselor Schweberger. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.